welcome to No Recipe Required. I'm Dave, and tonight I've got another pork chop recipe for you. God bless the pork. It's absolutely delicious. We're going to sear off a pork chop. No super technical issues there. But what we're going to do is serve it with a summer succotash of vegetables. We've got some corn in there, some peas, some potatoes, I think. We'll throw some herbs in there. The fully composed dish is absolutely perfect. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and make our pork chops with a little corn succotash. I've got my chops here. I like to use the double cut, and I brine them, then seasoned both sides. Very hot pan. I'm going to lay these guys in here first. And then I'm just going to let them sear on that side without touching for probably 4 or 5 minutes. Then we'll flip them over and move them into a preheated oven that's set at about 400 degrees. While they're in the oven, we'll make our succotash. Okay, so it's time to turn our pork chops over. Once we get that nice golden brown sear on one side, I'm going to get it on the other side. Like I said, probably 2 or 3 minutes here, and then we'll put it in the oven and let it go. Pork chops this size. Once we put it in the oven, probably take about 8 to 10 minutes, and that's like once we've got 5 or so in the pan. My pork's been in the oven for about 5 minutes or so. I think it's got maybe 3 or 4 minutes in the oven, and then 4 or 5 minutes of resting time. So it's time to start our succotash. I've just got a little bit of shallot and garlic there. You can obviously use onion if you'd like. Medium hot pan. I've got an ear of corn that I'm going to add as well, along with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now I'm just going to let this cook down for a few minutes until the shallots soften up, and then we'll come back, add a few more ingredients. Okay, my corn, shallots, and garlic have just cooked down a little bit. I've got some potatoes, which I diced up and blanched until just barely tender. I'm going to add those in, and then for some color, I've got some nice frozen peas here. I think frozen peas are pretty good. Certainly easier than fresh and peeling all those peas yourself. What would be awesome in here is like fava beans in the spring. Would be absolutely awesome. I've got a little bit of thyme here. I'm going to put a pinch in. Now I've also, again, seasoning, because we added those potatoes and the peas. I'm going to add a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper. I'm just going to let these all come up to temperature. Give it a quick toss. And in just a minute, once everything kind of comes to temperature, we start cooking the peas. I'm going to add a little bit of chicken stock just to make a little bit of a sauce here. And we're essentially done. Okay, while our succotash is finishing off, I'm going to let my pork rest. I just pulled it out of the oven. Again, field test, I can pretty much tell those are done. If you need to, you can use a meat thermometer. Just, poke one, no need to poke them both. And you want to make sure you get them done. I like them just kind of on the medium well side. You can definitely don't have to go overcooked. You don't have to go to well done like you used to. While these rest, let's go ahead, use these drippings, make a little bit of a sauce. Okay, I just went over, dumped out most of the fat in the pan. I'm going to add a little bit of Pinot Noir, and I'm just going to let that reduce down by about 3/4, and scrape up the those yummy bits all over the pan. Let the wine reduce, get that good pork flavor in there, and we'll come back, add a couple more ingredients. For our succotash, I've got everything up to temperature now. I'm just going to add about a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. I'm just going to bring that up to the boil and let the chicken stock reduce by half. And this is essentially going to become a nice sauce to lay the pork chop right on. So the pan sauce that we're making today is a fig and olive sauce. I think figs with pork goes super well. And I've just taken them, kind of diced them up into little slices here. And then I've also got a bunch of black olives that I also just diced. Olive and fig, combined. The fig gives a nice sweetness. The olives, a very cool saltiness. So I just added those to my pan here, to the wine. I'm going to let them cook for just a minute, kind of get warmed and heated through. And then I'm going to finish with a little bit of chicken stock and let that reduce, and we'll essentially have our sauce. One final step for our succotash. I'm going to turn the heat either all the way down or even off completely is fine. Hit it with a little knob of butter and let that melt in, and that's just going to make that sauce, that broth, a little richer and obviously a little bit more flavorful. And we are ready to go. Once our sauce is done, we'll go ahead and plate this up. Okay, off camera, I gave my sauce just a little bit of a taste, and it was a tiny bit salty, so I just added a little sugar to it, which is absolutely fine. It's reduced down by half. The other thing that's going to help that out is adding a little bit of butter to it, and that's going to add kind of a creamy, silky texture to the sauce. But you need to do that off the heat, so I'm going to take the heat all the way off. I'm going to add, call it a tablespoon of butter there, and just stir that in. And now we are ready to serve. Okay, let's go ahead and plate up our pork and summer succotash or corn succotash. I like to drop it right in the middle of the plate like that. And then we've got our pork chop, and lay this a little off center. And then of course our wonderful sauce here, olive and fig. Go a little bit right on top, a little bit all around the plate. And we've got a great pork meal. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.